on. That's going to take us to our baseball segment, which is always brought to you by Bobo's Fine Chicken in Virginia Beach. Come on in for breakfast, lunch, and dinner Monday through Saturday at their location on Shore Drive near Chicks Beach. Bobo's is more than just locally sourced high-quality chicken. With their traditional seasonal sides, homemade ice cream, and handcrafted donuts on the weekends, Bobo's is a can't miss, especially if you are in the Hampton Roads area and definitely if you're in Virginia Beach.
They have donuts
on the weekends. Blueberry lemon was the seasonal donut.
Do they have donuts?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
It's like eating cake, dude. It was first time having Bobo's. Up until like this past weekend, I've just been the smile and nod, oh yeah, kind of guy, and now I can put the Ron Swanson stamp of approval on this.
Yes.
This place is fire chef. We're talking bear quality food coming out of Bobo's. If you aren't eating Bobo's and you're in Virginia Beach, respectfully get your head out of your rectum and get over there. It is so good. God, I want another donut.
yeah. May go get some this weekend if I have a chance. But yeah, love Bobo's. As Bo will say, come on in and get you some. Bobo's and baseball ain't nothing better. So, baseball segment. First thing I want to start off with is our boy Brenton Doyle from.
It's from Shepherd.
Thank you for that, boy. That was very, very smooth of you.
I was looking up stats of other stuff. I wasn't ready for the Brenton Doyle question right off the start.
Yes, Brenton Doyle from Shepherd University. Komlo, do we have some sound for Brenton Doyle?
Hey! Who rules? Doyle rules!
It's not an exact match, but you know it works, right?
Oh,
Doyle rules.
Yeah, Doyle
this
rules.
Guy is awesome.
He is awesome.
We turned that game on, Nick, this weekend right in time to just watch him pump one.
Yes.
It was like within 2 seconds.
It was pretty sweet. He looks the part. He's playing the part. So on Friday, what Komlo was talking about is he had another home run. It wasn't a blast. Smoke that, no doubter. Let's flip the bat and go for a jog. For the Rockies, again, Brenton Doyle, if you guys are new to him, I posted that graphic the other day. He plays for the Rockies, which may be a reason why a lot of people haven't heard of him, but he has been one of the best players in baseball this year, and especially arguably one of the most improved players in baseball, especially from an offensive standpoint, because he's a former Gold Glove winner. I don't know if we know that he won the Gold Glove last year in his rookie campaign, but this year he's put it all together. Another home run on Friday. Jake Cave from
UVA.
No, from Hampton, Virginia.
Oh, okay, you get yours all over the damn place here.
These are two Virginia boys.
We got to make the point. One or two things.
No, yeah, be on your toes.
Jake Cave.
Jake Cave
looks so bad.
I know a lot of people, but goddamn, come on.
I'm just saying, you got to be on top of your shit, man.
I wasn't expecting Jake Cave.
Two guys from Virginia. Why would I not highlight them? They're on the same team, share the same outfield.
Yeah, man, you got to be on top of it. What are you doing?
Yeah,
I guess I have to know every player from Virginia.
Yeah, rule number 76: no excuses. Play like a champion.
But in Virginia.
Yep, Jake Cave delivered the go-ahead 3-run homer in the bottom of the 8th for Colorado as they went on to win 7-3 over the Giants. Again, another thing on Brenton Doyle. This is part of the graphic I posted. But he's one of 4 players in all of Major League Baseball who has over 15 home runs and over 20 stolen bases. And the other people on the list, everyone knows. You have Bobby Witt Jr., who we'll talk about here in a second, Ellie De La Cruz, and Shohei Ohtani. And then it's Brenton Doyle. Like, that's the list of guys who have done what he's done this year. And it's not like his average is, he's like an all or nothing and, stealing every chance he gets. No, he's hitting about 280. He has been fantastic. I think 3 WAR coming into last night, so he may have increased that because he'd smash a double off the wall against the Sox last night. But yeah, he's been great. If you don't know who Brenton Doyle is, he's worth a watch, worth looking up.
Dude, and this obviously we're kind of like getting into that area of baseball where it's rampant speculation with trade deadline coming up. But do we think the Rockies deal him?
No,
I
absolutely not.
I have him on my trade deadline names to someone that I would want to go
Like
after.
you don't, because I mean, like, yes, obviously there's buyers, but are the Rockies are like
They're
well
last,
below
yeah.
500.
Oh, yeah, no,
They're
they
like
won't-
what
they won't make the
37 and
playoffs.
60, but like,
Yeah.
are they sellers?
Well,
Or do you think?
they're going to sell what they can sell. There's no reason to get rid of Brenton Doyle because what are you going to get back in return that can help you? You have a young, major league ready, burgeoning superstar here, right? Him and Ezekiel Tovar at shortstop are going to be your core. You would think the next couple years you're going to see what you can do with them, right? Chris Bryant, maybe he comes back, maybe he does something, right? Charlie Blackmon doesn't really have that much appeal because he probably makes too much money and he can only really just
Well, that's what I
DH and
think.
play
That's
a-
the thing is you're gonna have to pay Doyle, right?
Yeah, but eventually, but this is his second year in the majors. You would think he still has several years of club control left because you have to play X number of years before you can reach free agency. So, what is the point of trading him? Will you get in return what is?
What was the point of
Because
trading Juan Soto? I mean, there's a lot of players.
Juan Soto's
a
different.
rambling man.
Juan Soto's different. It's almost like Juan Soto's curse is like the Gary Sheffield curse that he's too good and that he found himself in positions where teams are, had to unload him always to another team that's trying to win, right? A better comparison would be like your Trey Turner. There's no I think that was really a misstep. That I think is mismanagement by the Nats. There's no reason the Nats should have gotten rid of Trey Turner. There's zero reason.
But that's why that's why to me this is a possibility. There are so many guys we say that with. Like why would you ever get rid of this guy? Why would you build around and do this? And they, for whatever reason, don't want to.
Well, the difference here would be that the Nats were coming off winning the championship with all these different levels of veterans, young players. They had all these contracts and stuff. The Rockies don't have any of that. They haven't won anything. So if you're going to deal him,
right? So
what is the direction you're going though? Because who are you getting back? Because he's such a valuable
pitching prospects because their pitching's awful. I don't know.
Their pitching is always terrible though. It's Colorado.
I understand.
To me, dealing him for whatever you get back isn't going to be worth it because of the position you're in.
Right. To you, it isn't. But
where do you go?
Some of these GMs, it might be.
Now, guys, someone who's more likely to get traded is a Jake Cave, right? A veteran left-handed player who can play all three outfield positions, right? That's a guy who contenders want. Obviously, a lot of people would take Brenton Doyle right now for what he's playing. But, I mean, for what the Rockies should ask for him, you're going to have to, siphon your farm system to get this guy. Right? Because that's the value he should hold, especially with the number of years, controllable years he has, and the fact that what are you going to establish you build around? To me, it seems clear that the two guys you should try to build around are the two guys up the middle, Tovar and Doyle, who are young and have club control. And maybe you start, shipping pieces like Cave and Brian McMahon is a better chance to get traded.
Yeah. No,
right?
I agree with
Brendan
you.
Rodgers get traded, right?
I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying that there are guys that we always say, why would you get rid of this guy? Why would you do that? And somehow they get traded because of an organization like Colorado, kind of similar to Oakland, where you play well, you get shipped. Right? Like your team's just not going to be good enough to compete. When was the last time Colorado competed?
It's been a while. It's been a while. Oh my
That was a good one. I feel like that was just a slow burn leading up to that. Holy hell.
But again, the other difference with a Juan Soto is that Juan Soto was guaranteed to demand a contract that will be well over $300 million.
Yeah, no,
the odds of Brenton Doyle becoming that, as much as we would love to see it, since we've been rooting for the guy and he's been great, the odds of him getting a $300 million contract when his time is set is so low. Like there's so many other things that are going to have to fall into place. So you're still looking at a guy who, if he keeps up, could land a pretty big payday, but he's not going to get Juan Soto money. So there's no reason to ship this guy because your value's not going to match it, and he'd be more valuable to trade or more likely to get traded after you sign him to a deal and maybe things don't work out, and his cap hit. But right now, he's making no money for you. Like you're a team that you signed Chris Bryant to try to help with guys like Brenton Doyle and Tovar to help you get over, and McMahon to get you over that hump, and it hasn't worked out. So maybe, like I said, maybe you ship other pieces. But why would you get rid of it? It doesn't make that much sense.
To your point, Nick, and again, I'm going to keep saying this until the end of trade deadline. We're in rampant speculation season. There are no articles anywhere listing him as a possible trade target. For like every like news outlet that tracks trade rumors, trade buzz, even like these like fan run websites, kind of like how the Orioles have Camden Chat things, and I think Colorado has like the Purple Buzz or something like that. Nobody is talking about Brenton Doyle going anywhere.
Yeah. Another Rockies piece of news. Believe this was yesterday. Sam Hilliard hit a game-tying 2-run homer in the bottom of the 10th inning. And then Ezekiel Tovar, the aforementioned Ezekiel Tovar, hit a walk-off single in the 12th as Colorado beat the Sox 9-8 last night, which was pretty sweet. Pretty amazing to see. I love a
nice
good
shirt, Stevie.
Yeah, I love a good tying.
It's my Ted Williams. It's my Ted Williams T-shirt jersey.
Oh, I'm not done with the Sox stuff here. Yeah, a little later. The next thing I want to get into was Bobby Witt Jr. I don't know if you saw last night, but he became the third Royal ever to have 4 straight 3 or more hit games. Do you know the other 2 Royals that did it?
Brett.
Yep, George Brett. Pretty easy one.
Bo.
No. This is also Sox themed.
Johnny Damon.
Johnny Damon.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bobby Witt Jr. is this is nuts. Since the All-Star break, he is 12 for 15.
He's actually 13 for 16 now.
Did he just get another hit?
Yeah.
13 for 16, which is it's mind-boggling.
That's why he's our shortstop.
It's mind-boggling. Like your thoughts are trapped in a bottle.
See if I can do.
That's why he's our shortstop.
Can you see that?
Heck yeah, we can.
Do you see those numbers right there? He has an 800 batting average and an OPS
in the last 7 days.
In the last 7 days and a 2.29.
That's terrifying. Holy,
that's awesome. I like the second person on your list. That's who I was going to talk about next. But
no reason.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Also, if you saw, but Bobby Witt finished last night a single shy of the cycle.
Because he got plunked.
Yes, in the 6th inning, he came up, and the first pitch, the guy drilled him right in the arm. Now, you got to be outraged by it. Everyone loves to be outraged by stuff. I don't think the guy did it on purpose because you're talking about a scrub pitcher with a low kind of whipping release whose arm side run fastball got away from him, and that's why he pitches for the Diamondbacks in a mop-up role capacity, right? But it's just that, like, come on, man. I'm sure he's on the mound just, shaking in his boots like, oh, God, this guy's tearing everyone up, and tried to make a perfect pitch, and it came out wrong. But that was disappointing. He did get another at-bat. He flew out. Someone hung a slider, and he just missed it and flew out. But, yeah, Bobby Witt, amazing. But, again, that list segued nicely into the next person, which was Juan Soto. Juan Soto, as you saw on the list, he was 11 for 18 since in the 4 games since the All-Star break. All those games were against the Rays. That included a 4-for-4 night on Friday. He had a 2-homer game on Monday as well, as the Yankees earned a split against Tampa. So he's been lights out and fuego, if you will. But an interesting note from the Friday Yankees-Rays game. Catcher Austin Wells became the first Yankee since Derek Jeter in 2006 to have 3+ walks, 1+ run, and registers 0 at-bats in the game, which I thought was kind of cool.
Wait, go over that stat line again?
3+ walks, 1+ run, but had 0 at-bats in the game.
Yeah.
Because
Gotcha.
Every time he was up, he walked. So it doesn't count as an at-bat.
He gets on base.
And he also had to lay down a sack bunt.
Guys, check your reports or I'm going to point at Pete again.
That does remind me, Nick, of so Rowdy Tellez had a somewhat similar stat line in one of the games over the weekend. He
No, I
went
have that one right here.
0 for 1 with 3 sack flies.
Yes.
And someone compared it to the Jerome Bettis 3 carries, 1 yard, 3 touchdowns or something.
Yes. It is like a Mike Tolbert stat
Yeah.
line. It was awesome. Yeah, thank you for bringing it up. That was in the Pirates-Phillies game over the weekend, which the Pirates came back and beat the Phillies 8-7 on a Nick Gonzalez walk-off single in the ninth. Like I said, Rowdy Tellez had 3 sack flies in that game. He's the first player since Jose Lopez in 2008 to do so in a single game. Also of note in that game, O'Neal Cruz, which, do you know who he's named after?
Missile.
Who? Paul O'Neill.
Paul O'Neill, yes.
How'd that?
His dad's favorite player was Paul O'Neill.
Can he hit 2 home runs?
Names.
It was a triple with an error. Excuse me. But O'Neal Cruz had the second hardest hit ball of the season in that game. He roped a 120.5 mile an hour line drive off the center field fence. It was pretty remarkable. But
God,
O'Neal has the 3 hardest hit balls of the year. Right, he's someone who really doesn't get talked about as much as he should. For whatever reason, Ellie gets talked about more. Maybe it's a switch hitting aspect. Maybe it's a stolen base aspect. But O'Neal Cruz, I could argue in a lot of ways, seems like he's a better hitter.
It's a stolen base.
Yeah, is it a stolen base? Like,
yeah,
I like Cruz's swing better, is what I'm trying to say. He has more hitting potential.
Right,
I think.
It launches them.
They both have what I call showcase talent. I think they're learning how to be ball players. Both the Cruzes, De La Cruz and O'Neal Cruz, they're on their way to learning how to become ball players right now. But they're at this moment they have showcase talent where they can hit the ball an absolute mile, can run faster than anyone. They're freak athletes. They're tall. You don't see someone doing that at the shortstop position, being 6'6". But O'Neal Cruz on the year right now, he's caught fire. 253, 15 home runs, 51 runs batted in, OPS 762.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he a little more promise offensively, but Ellie, you're right, is a more like the stolen base aspect, right?
Ellie's got 2 more home runs. Ellie's OPS, they almost have pretty much identical numbers, except for Ellie's OPS is 837, and he has 49 stolen bases.
Yeah. Just to point out, his last name is De La Cruz.
It's De La Cruz. Yes, it is, right. De La Cruz.
Okay. The next one I had on here, Yordan Alvarez. He recorded the 10th cycle in Astros history and is the first since Altuve hit for the cycle last year in Houston's 6-4 loss at Seattle on Sunday. It's also the second ever cycle at T-Mobile Park, which I thought was interesting. Miguel Tejada had the other one in 2001. Thought that was kind of wild to see that. Next, I got
no Ichiro at T-Mobile Park.
T-Mobile Park, which former Safeco Field. Yes, you're thinking the right place.
Okay, no Ichiro.
I guess Ichiro never did it there. Yeah, if he ever did, it wasn't there. Yeah, Yeah, like I said, that's why I thought that was interesting. Of all the people that have come through, like a Mike Trout going through there all the time. Nope, Yordan is the one to get it. Just kind of shows
that's not the one.
It shows how
lucky you
how
have to
crazy
be.
cycles. Yeah, cycles are. After a pretty kind of eventful back and forth affair, the Dodgers walked off the Sox 7-6 in 11 innings on Will Smith's RBI single Saturday. Like I said, I had more Sox stuff for you right there. Sticking with the Dodgers, Teoscar Hernandez, the home run derby champion, he drove in all 3 runs on Monday, including a homer in the Dodgers 3-2 win over their rival Giants, which I thought was amazing. Like I said before, big fan of his. Just I love his swing, I love his approach, and he has the ability to do that. That's why I think that's such a great move by the Dodgers to get him, especially with how kind of injured and inconsistent a lot of the other guys on their roster have been besides Shohei. Next from the other night as well, in the top of the 9th, Paul DeJong for the White Sox, the other Sox, hit a go-ahead homer against the Rangers, but catcher Jonah Heim for Texas hit a game-tying single at the bottom of the 9th, and Wyatt Langford, who's an up-and-coming, he had the walk-off hit on Monday in the bottom of the 10th for the Rangers kind of snatch victory back from
he's built like a running
Chicago.
back.
Yes, he is. Anything else baseball wise?
I was gonna go through some trade deadline names that I like.
Some
We'll take
rampant
we'll take
speculation.
some
Mhm.
rampant speculation. We'll take Doyle off, obviously. Number
Mhm.
one hitter though that I want to see get shipped out. Brent Rooker from the Oakland,
Rooker.
Sacramento, Vegas Athletics.
Yeah, Rooker, I hardly know her.
Yeah, he's been
We-
awesome this year.
Well, you got to
Yes, he
think
has.
people like the A's and the White Sox are going to be
Yes.
selling big time, right?
Yes, and what I love is that the A's, like, the only way to get out of there is to play. Like, you gotta play well. Get out of there. You gotta play well. He's, by the way, his numbers on the year: 290, 22 home runs, 67 RBI.
Thought he was an all-star snub.
He was a snub. Yes, if you don't know
Who got
that
in
name
over
too,
him?
David Fry of the Cleveland Guardians.
you shouldn't have.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Ian Happ. The Cubs are gonna sell. I think I know they've invested a lot in Ian Happ. It's just another name that I think if you're a GM of another team could be a bat to go
Yes.
finish off a World Series run. And then some pitchers. Tariq Skubal is
Tarek
Tarek
Skubal.
Skubal. I've just heard it. Whatever.
Damn, Tariq, that's a tough look.
Tarek Skubal. He might be one of the best.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the fine people of Detroit and Guatemala.
Well, they're not going to keep him, so
you don't know that.
What is he, Danish?
I think he's Persian.
I think he's Dutch. But
That's a name.
Todd Gack.
That's a name, Todd Gack. He most likely is going to get shipped off, I would have to think. And the O's are definitely looking at him. Another pitcher for the White Sox, Garrett Crochet.
That's almost a given.
Yeah,
he's
definitely getting moved. O's are looking at him as well. There's a lot of teams that are going to look for him. The O's just seem to have that great farm system where it just plays so well to trade for one of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about, like, they just have so many. It's just too many chefs, right? Too many cooks.
Yeah, go get one of these guys and go try to win. Logan Webb of San Francisco. San Francisco's out of it. It's just another pitcher, another arm that if I'm a GM, I want. And then Mason Miller of the Athletics. He's someone that if you're running a team, that's another person that you're like, why would I ever get rid of this guy? But it's the Athletics.
Well, the other thing with Mason Miller is relief pitchers are so volatile. All right, we grew up in, I would say, the golden age of relief pitchers, where your Rivera's, your Billy Wagner's, your Joe Nathans, your
Eric
Trevor
Gagne.
Hoffman's. Eric, I mean, there are so many guys who
K-Rod.
who were really good for a long time. Right? Again, I'm sure I missed some guys. That's not the case anymore, and it really hadn't been the case before those guys. We're in a little anomaly bubble there when we grew up.
Josh Hader.
Yeah, but even him is still
who's
like
the
how many years
Lefty.
realistically? Yeah, but even he had some ups and downs. He had some lumps he had to take before he got consistent. And again, how many years did you really get out of that guy? Yeah, right. Mason Miller has like 5 years left, 4 or 5 years left of control. But again, he's a relief pitcher, and there aren't many guys in the last 10 years, relief pitching wise, that have been top notch for 5 straight years. So this is kind of where his value will never be higher. Like, it's possible, again, it's possible he doesn't. Probably he's the next coming of Rivera, and he's going to be the next dominant guy. But even like a Kenley Jansen and like a Craig Kimbrell, who have been so good, they're probably our best relievers the last 10 years. Their value still isn't that high because they're not at the level of that Billy Wagner, Hoffman, Rivera type guy who we grew up with. So it's kind of, he is the wild card to me because of that. If he played a different position, I think Houston still sticks. Like if he's a shortstop, they may not get rid of him just because of, his value may increase even more. But as a relief pitcher, because of the volatility of that position and guys we've seen lately who might just rip off a great year and then you never see him again, they're out of the league in a couple of years, it's hard to say his value can go up. And so this might be their only time to recoup anything close to what they should get. The issue is because of all those other factors, what they should be demanding is so high, is any team going to be willing to part with those pieces? / do they even have those pieces? The Orioles would be a team that probably have those pieces.
But the Orioles
do they want to get rid of all those guys? So that limits the other people they can get.
More likely, the O's would probably be looking at starting pitching, not necessarily relief pitching. Correct?
Yeah. And pitching in general. Right? We just said.
Well, they've had so many injuries in their starting rotation.
Our fifth, we need to find a way to strengthen our starting rotation for sure, because our fourth and fifth options.
You get Scooble or Crochet to be paired with Corbin Burns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of articles that are talking about Cedric Mullins and Ryan Mountcastle possibly getting traded.
I've seen Holiday and Kierstead.
I think that's just because that's what's going to draw clicks, but it's not Ryan Ripken has a podcast, and he was talking about you don't touch Kierstead, you don't touch Holiday with a 10-foot pole when it comes to trades. You hold on to them for dear life, and instead what you do is he said that look at the market, and not a lot of teams are going to be looking to deal their first baseman, right? Your Guerreros, your Pete Alonsos aren't going to go anywhere. Mountcastle's had a really, really good year. He's possibly one of the best first basemen out there that could get traded.
Okay, but if I'm
disagree.
Detroit
I feel
in Chicago, why do I want Ryan Mountcastle's a great player, but why do I want him?
Move him.
Yeah, I think what Komlo's saying is not necessarily that you're going to use those guys for the trades you brought up, but that in another trade, if you were looking at how can we improve our roster, maybe we need an Adam Frazier type guy from the Royals, and not necessarily that he's going to get traded, a guy like that, right? It's Ben Zobrist type of player, right? An Ian Happ, maybe that's an example.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get an Ian Happ? Well, if I don't want to give up Kierstead, I might have to trade Cedric Mullins and Mountcastle to Chicago, because maybe Chicago is not completely throwing in the towel, but they're saying, well, maybe move some pieces around, and maybe you get a Happ and someone, some other veteran reliever or something that's just a throw in there. So I think that's what Komlo's saying. I don't know. I think that would be kind of...
So basically what you're saying, if you that's to get the ace that you want, though, to get a Scooble
that's
or
different. You're going to have to give a prospect.
Then you have to give up Holiday and Kierstead.
Maybe.
Or Norby. Yeah, Norby's
a Norby, and maybe
you should be able to keep
a Santander as a sweetener.
No, because now we're getting into the territory of, are we making ourselves better, or are we just getting a better player? Because
you need to
your sum has to be better, and so that's where I don't know if the Orioles are necessarily going to be super active. I don't think they're going to trade position players. Right? I think you see a Norby or a Kierstead get traded for a pitcher, and that a pitcher or two, and that's kind of it. I don't think they're going to mortgage their future and their present too, because it's a very fine line of we're not playing a video game. It's not like we're looking at overall things and saying, oh well, if I trade Santander and Kierstead, I can get this guy. Now my team's overall ranking is improved, and that means it's going to play out when they do the algorithm to see if I win games and simulate them. It's not that. It's you got a group of guys who are playing really well together, especially position player offensively, right? And that's rare, as we've talked about so much with the Yankees, of how garbage they've been outside of Judge and Soto. Why mess that up? Why get rid of a Cedric Mullins? Why get rid of a Mountcastle, who are consistent, solid, battle-tested guys? You're probably looking at your prospects who haven't come up or haven't really had that much time, and that's who's going to go for your pitching. And I think that's the way the Orioles go.
That's what I would that's what I would do. Get someone to go win it now. Your window to win in the show is so small, right? What's the window for the Orioles right now? 3 years,
if that. Right now,
maybe, yeah.
You have to be all in. You have to be all in this year or next year.
Absolutely.
Before some of these guys start getting a little too old.
Yes.
Right. Correct.
And these
and demanding contracts
themselves out.
Yes. And that's where it I don't think you're going to see as much movement as you think from the Orioles. I think you might see 1 to 2 trades, and the other moves that you might see are maybe to acquire veteran depth, like a Tommy Pham, in case case Cedric Mullins gets hurt. And now I've got a veteran to put in there that I can put anywhere in the lineup, right? You might see moves like that.
That's
hey, George.
Yeah. Oh, hey, George.
That
Buck
episode was
Showalter
on
was
today.
like on record, like, because someone asked him, like, oh, you know, like, do you wish that like you were still involved with the Orioles with like the farm system and the talent pool that they have? And he said, oh, you know, they're going to be fun to watch. You know, your typical like middle of the road answer. And he said, well, have you heard anything about what they're going to be doing at trade deadline? He said, no, but I would encourage them to like stay the course.
Yes.
Right? Stick with what you have and ride it out.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to do much. The biggest thing is just
there's
getting
just a lot of
after-
pressure to do something. You know what I mean?
Right. By the way, if you like, you have to go hard after one of those starting pitchers, and if their asking point is too much that you don't want to go after, you don't have to do it.
No,
I just
exactly.
I just think getting rid of probably Norby and either Holiday or Kierstead to go get one of those pitchers is a great move in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep. You mentioned Tommy Pham. That's a name that I think the Pirates should get or should go after. They need a veteran bat to help them.
I mean, Tommy Pham's a guy who's been on the move. It feels like the last 2 or 3 deadlines. And it's funny, every year it seems like he's getting signed by these teams that everyone knows is going to be garbage. And it's almost like he's going, yeah, you know what? I'll take a vacation to Chicago for a few months and then get traded to LA. And then I'll live in, Oakland for, a few months. I'll get traded to Tampa or something. So he's been a solid player his career. He's definitely going to get traded. You're right. It'd be interesting what team.
Because you don't have to necessarily.
Because he's really a fit for anyone. That's why he's so marketable. I think he was on the Diamondbacks last year, right? They went on that, got traded to the D-backs. They went on that run to the World Series.
Correct, which is kind of what I'm expecting with another team this year.
Can I digest for a real quick second? Because I'm scrolling through and looking.
Are you making
at
a joke there, Komlo?
Yeah, I'm making a Nick joke. Can I digest for a second? Digress for a second. While you guys are talking baseball, and I'm like,
we're talking baseball.
I'm listening and trying to participate the best I can, but I'm still really hung up on Brenton Doyle. Have you seen Colorado City Connect jerseys?
Yeah. Awesome.
They're sweet.
They are sick. It looks just like all of the Colorado license plates.
Yeah, that was the point.
They are so sick. All right, Rockies, listen up. If you guys keep Brenton Doyle, I will invest in a City Connect Brenton Doyle jersey. Komlo out. That's all I got.
How about they give some for the show?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
We'll wear it all on the show. I'll wear it forever on the show. If
Rockies, give us free swag. Stuff we all get.
Yes.
Brought to you by the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah. They send me a jersey, I'll wear it for every damn episode forever.
If stupid Cam Young could be sponsored by MLB, we could be sponsored by the Rockies. Damn
it. Who's he? He's somebody. Who am I? You're nobody.
You want to make Ted Danson?
Ted Danson, I know for a fact, makes more than this an episode. You're worse. You're much, much worse. All right, that's going to put a bow on our baseball segment.
Thanks, Bobo.
Sponsored by Bobo's Fine Chicken in Virginia Beach. Come on in for some good times, great chicken, and cold beer. As Komlo found out, they have beer there. At their location on Shore Drive near Chicks Beach. Bobo's and baseball, ain't nothing better. That's going to move us on to our Mimosa Minute segment, which is brought to you always by Main & Co., the creators of the modern mimosa. As a woman-owned company, Main & Co. have been highlighting excellence in women's athletics since 2020. Look for them at Indiana Fever home games, as well as, I heard this the other day from Griswold, Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs games.
No way. Oh,
yes, they're going to be at them.
Not in Pennsylvania anymore.
I know. Visit them at mainsip.com and follow them on Instagram at main.co for latest news and updates on new releases and beverages. Like we talked about the new cocktails coming out soon, beer coming out soon. So good stuff there. Griswold said they might get to take a picture with Caitlin Clark, which is kind of sweet. Yeah, I told him update me if that ever happens. But that kind of is the segue into my first thing for the Mimosa Minute, which has to do with Caitlin Clark. She set the WNBA single-season game record for assists with 19 in a close loss to the Dallas Wings last week. The Wings, Arike Agumbawale from.
I know her brother's from Wisconsin.
Oh, really? That's her brother?
That's a good, yeah.
Notre
Dare-
Dame.
I can't imagine there's a lot of people walking around with that last
Dare
name.
Agumbawale, right?
Yeah. But Arike Agumbawale had 24 points. She's from Notre Dame, by the way.
Okay, I thought it was either Stanford or Notre Dame. Okay, Notre Dame.
And Odyssey Sims, they each had 24 points in the winning effort for Dallas. Sticking with Agumbawale, she scored a WNBA All-Star Game record 34 points in Team WNBA's 117-109 victory over Team USA, which was interesting and kind of gives you a little pause there and then cause for concern a little bit maybe for Team USA that you're going to go out there and you got a lot of people that you cut, right, that you chose not to take on your team who are torching you. Yeah, there are other players out there who are representing other countries.
Hell hath no fury.
But yeah,
woman.
Thought that was pretty amazing. Agumbawale followed up that effort with a record-setting one in the All-Star game, which was kind of cool. My next one has to go with golf. Chanati Wanasen from Thailand, I believe. She won her second LPGA Tour title of her career at the Dana Open at Highland Meadows in Ohio. She had a one-stroke victory over Heiran Yu at -20. Yu finished at -19. They were 5 shots clear of the next closest people, so it's basically the two of them dueling it out. So Wanasen came away with the victory. First one this year, second of her career. Anything else, Mimosa Minute wise?
Yes, I got one. Stevie, do you have one?
Mimosa Minute.
Yeah,
wise.
I've got one.
Okay, you mind if I go first?
Yeah, go for it.
And then I'll kick it to you. Mine's not. It's something that I talked about this a little bit ago. Remember when I brought up Jessica Campbell of the Coachella Valley Firebirds? She was the
coach.
She was the assistant coach to Dan Balsma for that hockey team, and I said that she was, in my opinion, the front runner to get the head coach job. Now that Balsma got called up to coach the Kraken full time, she did not get the job. However, caveat, she did in fact get called up to be a full-time assistant coach for the Seattle Kraken.
Oh.
Dan Balsma really liked working with her and got the green light to give her the tap. So she's not going to be a head coach for the Firebirds. She is going to be the first woman assistant coach in the NHL for the Seattle Kraken. And you guys remember the resume I gave you? She's a really decorated Olympian for the Canadian women's national team, and then went on to start her own coaching school, right? Where she's coached a lot of Stanley Cup champions there. So I think that's awesome. I wanted to do a little follow up just because she crossed my mind. I'm really getting excited for hockey season, even though we're still a couple months away. But I thought that was pretty cool. So I looked her up and wanted to see if she got the job or not. And I was super surprised to see that she's just Balsma's taking her with him. And that's awesome. I'm so excited. That's going to be a squad to watch this year.
That's pretty cool. So mine is Olympic related. Basically, the NCAA put out a tweet on X. I don't know if they're still called tweets. But basically, 53.5% of Team USA athletes have won at least one NCAA individual or team championship, and the top 3 are all from UVA. Mm-hmm. And it's Alex Walsh. They're all swimmers, by the way.
Yes.
Alex Walsh with 23 NCAA championships, Gretchen Walsh with 18, and Kate Douglas with 18.
That's pretty good. How many does Virginia Tech have?
They have 0 team national championships.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I believe they have a wrestler. I believe
using
they have a
minute
wrestler
to take a shot at Tech.
Why not?
I
believe they have. I believe they have a wrestler who's won an individual national championship.
Does our betting expert know this?
He would know this. Yeah,
he would know this. Well, maybe we'll have to get him on.
We'll have to get him on as we get. Actually, no, I don't want him on during Virginia Tech football season because I'm going to have to hear it. I don't want that. Hear
what? How they're exceeding expectations by going 7-5?
I have a breakdown on them coming in the future.
Okay.
In August, yeah. But
Something to look
anyway,
forward to.
UVA swimming is a dynasty, and
Yeah.
they're dominant. So watch out for them for those names for.
Well, that the
Olympics.
UVA's women's swimming coach is the women's coach for the for Team USA.
That would make sense. I mean, she's got
Todd DeSorbo, I think is his name.
How many national championships
does he have?
Yeah,
crap ton.
Yeah,
a crap ton. But yeah, that is pretty amazing. They are a lot of ways the preeminent, at least definitely women's swimming power, but they've won other swimming championships too on the men's side. But they are a force. I think fourth straight women's swimming and diving national championship this year. Yeah, so you win 4 straight in anything. You win 2 straight, you're doing something amazing. 4 straight means that you're playing a different sport.
It's like Oklahoma softball.
Yes. Anything else before we move on?
I don't have anything. No. Thank you, Main & Co.
Yeah. That's going to do it for our Mimosa Minute this week, sponsored by Main & Co. Remember to visit them at mainsip.com and follow them on Instagram at main.co. Be on the lookout for the new cocktail releases we talked about. The beer coming out soon. Those should be releasing this summer. Like I said, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs games, they're coming too soon, which is
great,
awesome.
Road trip.
But yeah,
Allentown, Bethlehem area. Yeah, it's nice.
Main & Co. championing women's athletics since 2020. That's going to take us to, I said before the show, we had some racing to talk about. The first thing was going to be the Tour de France, or the Tour de France. For those
tour of anabolic steroids, and
the tour of blood doping.
Yeah. Well, Slovenia's Tadej Pogačar won his 3rd career Tour de France title at the age of 25. That's it. He's already won 3. He defeated Denmark's Jonas Vingegaard. It's the first Tour de France title in 3 years for Pogačar, because Vingegaard had won the last 2. But Pogačar's, he won the final stage. It was a time trial. He didn't need to. He was far enough ahead, but it gave him his 17th career Tour de France stage victory. Gave him a margin of victory of 6 minutes and 17 seconds, which is his largest of any of his 3 Tour wins, which I thought was kind of amazing. Pogačar is also the first person to win the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France in the same year since Marco Pantani in 1998. So the Giro d'Italia is kind of the next biggest one, right? It'd be like one of the majors of cycling.
Sure.
And it's a lot of ways the tune-up that guys take before they go to the Tour de France. So he won both of those, which is pretty amazing. Belgium's Remco Evenepoel, he finished 3rd, and he took home the white jersey, which is handed out to the best young rider, because this was his debut. His debut Tour de France, he finished 3rd. That's pretty sick. Ecuador's Richard Carapaz won the polka dot jersey that's handed out to the best climber. And Eritrea's Biniam Grimai won the green jersey for top sprinter. Eritrean cyclist. I didn't know they had anyone cycling in Eritrea, but that's kind of amazing.
Everywhere, man.
They do have bikes. It just goes to show they got bikes everywhere, right? So shout out to him for winning that. I thought that was kind of interesting from the Tour de France. You got those guys going there, but Pogačar's kind of him and Vingegaard. Essentially, they've won the last 5 Tour de France. They've established themselves as the people to beat in that sport.
I didn't see I didn't click on it to get names or anything, but I did see that a lot of the Tour de France riders are either not going or withdrawing from the Olympics due to fatigue.
Yeah, I could see that.
Which kind of sucks, but it's understandable,
Yes. I mean, that's a sport. I mean, it's grueling because it's continuous, right? It's not like I get an off day. Hey, off day. I think they build in 1 or 2 off days during the Tour de France.
Hours of sleep.
Yeah, right. So they build in a couple days during that, but it's still, right? I mean, it's like a 21-day event. It's kind of wild that they're able to do that. And the Olympics ones, you're right. Like, what am I going to... It's like the horse racing, right? They take the horse out of the Belmont because they're afraid of fatigue and that the horse is going to get hurt. It's kind of the same idea, right? You're going max as hard as you can for what you need to do. And, our bodies are not made of, indestructible metal. We are of ourselves fragile. So we essentially break down.
That's what the anabolic steroids and blood doping's for.
Yes, it is. Moving on to NASCAR. Right?
All right, NASCAR.
Yep. All right, turn left.
Go in a circle. Kyle Larson won the Brickyard 400 on Sunday in overtime after Brad Keselowski ran out of gas. Larson came kind of middle of the pack.
Literally ran out of gas?
He literally ran out of gas, yes. But it's Larson's 27th victory of his career. It's his 4th win this year, which puts him above Chase Elliott for the top in the point standings for NASCAR. And this was what they call a crown jewel race in NASCAR, right? One of the big ones, like a major race. And so with his victory here at the Brickyard, Larson's only crown jewel race he's missing in his career is the Daytona 500, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, Kyle Larson's been fantastic the last few years. He's a former champion. But Tyler Reddick finished second, and Ryan Blaney was third. I think Ryan Blaney won the other week in Chicago at the road race. So I thought that was kind of cool for Kyle Larson. Now this next one, Komlo knows this. This is the thing the boy doesn't know and may not understand, but I want to see his reaction. But in Formula 1, Oscar Piastri won his first ever F1 race with a victory in the Hungarian Grand Prix, as McLaren's team finished 1-2 and Lando Norris finished second. The story, though, was that the McLaren team ordered Lando Norris, who was leading late in the race, to pull back and allow Piastri to pass him so Piastri can get the win. And I see the boy's eyes.
We should not be calling it a race.
Ford versus Ferrari?
Yes.
We're going to do our best to kind of like break it down for you, but if anyone like really want like
explain it to me like I'm 5.
Pat McAfee had a really good like segment on this. So Piastri Lando Norris is sitting on the pole. Piastri takes the lead early. Norris overtakes him and is leading by a lot.
Yes.
And you can hear like in the recordings of like the team, like you can hear the recordings like they're saying, Lando, slow down. You need to let him overtake you. Lando, slow down. This is going to start to look fishy. This is going to look weird. It's going to be awkward. Slow down. Let Piastri pass you. And finally, like Norris finally comes over and is over his like mic and is like, "You guys don't need to say anything. All right, I get it."
What was the point of doing that?
So the reason
it's bullshit and it's rigged.
Yeah, so this is the reason why a lot of American race fans don't like Formula One, is because this is not uncommon. So this is not
walking in
an anomaly. So basically, what it is each team has two drivers. There's 10 teams of 2, right? And the teams coordinate like with all their pit stops. So it's not like I'm in the crew chief for Tyler Reddick and there's a crew chief for Brad Keselowski and the crew yes, they all have crew chiefs, but in NASCAR they kind of all operate independently, right? Joe Gibbs isn't sitting there saying, "Hey, so and so needs to back off for this," right? But in Formula One they do this all the time, where we try to coordinate these things. And so with Piastri, who jumped out to the early lead in the race, McLaren was trying to get him the victory. And so they strategically pit Norris when they thought they could help him kind of get second. But what wound up happening is they pit him before Piastri. Norris comes back on the track with faster tires, looking better. And when Piastri finally pits, Norris built such a big lead that Piastri couldn't catch up and go back in front. So they kind of screwed themselves. Their strategy to try to get Piastri the win backfired. And so basically they were sitting there saying, "Wait a second, we wanted Piastri to win. Norris, you're not the one who's supposed to win. We were trying to get Oscar the win, so you need to back off. Like, it was our mistake." But the other wrinkle in it, though, is that Norris is second in the point standings to Max Verstappen. And so Norris, after this race, because he didn't win, will be 76 points behind Verstappen, whereas if he had won, he would have been 70 points. And so it was all McLaren's team call. And what's crazy is in the Formula One world, Norris is the one getting bashed for it. Norris is getting bashed for not pulling back quick enough. His following the team orders.
The hell out of him.
Yes,
they flamed the absolute shit out of him. It's better to win as a team, Lando. Lando, it's a team sport, Lando. You can't do it on your own, Lando. This is a team sport, and it is ridiculous. ridiculous.
Yeah,
oh my god,
that's
it's
insane.
ridiculous.
Go.
And
Listening to
That guy needs
listening
to
to the
go to
transcripts.
a different team, right?
Or America or something, and do like IndyCar or whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, it's crazy too because it's like they make him say at the end, Norris has to go, well, you know what? I didn't deserve to win. You know, Piastri should have been the one to win. I didn't deserve it. I should have pulled back sooner. But it's like, but you were winning. Right? That's the equivalent of Eli Manning when he beats Tom in the Super Bowl, saying, you know what, Tom and the Patriots went 18-0. They deserve to win because they were the better team, really. So I'm going to give Tom the Lombardi Trophy. Because you know what, even though we won this game, we were better today. They were better. They deserve to win. All right, that's the equivalent of this, right? And again, this happens in Formula 1 all the time.
Why
It's
does
a
anybody
big
watch
reason.
this crap?
It's a big reason why people don't watch it.
There are
disingenuous.
there are some really really funny like YouTube videos that'll show like the overtakes in a Formula 1 race, and like you've seen the graphics where it's like here's like the playoff odds standings throughout the season, and you watch the lines with the team emblems go as like time progresses. And in Formula 1, when they do this, it's just there's maybe 5 or 6 overtakes. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't like I stand with Pat McAfee on this. I do not call this racing anymore. I call it it's just a show. It's just entertainment at this point. This is absolutely ridiculous. The ridicule that Lando Norris got from his own team and hearing it is preposterous. This doesn't sit well with me as a sports fan. This doesn't sit well with me as a competitor. I don't like anything about it. It's a sham. It's
socialism in sport form is what it is.
That's the best way to put it, Nick. That is the best way.
That always works out.
Yes. Boy, they
I read it in the Daily Worker.
Yeah.
Big
personal ads.
Big swing and a miss.
This guy's a commie.
What if I want to open up my own delicatessen?
Well, there are no delicatessens of communism. But yeah, there have been times in the past, in Talladega Nights, the fictional movie where the Dennett Racing gets on and says, hey, tell him to take Cal Naughton out.
Yeah.
That happens in Formula 1 all the time, too.
Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna, and you'll get shit if you don't take him out. Just like Dennett Racing says, tell him take him out or he's fired. That happens in Formula 1 all the time. It is preposterous. It's un-American. Is what it is. It's non-competitive is what it is.
I have the transcripts right here, and the craziest one, their race engineer on lap 66. Lando, there are 5 laps to go. The way to win a championship is not by yourself. It's with the team. You're going to need Oscar, and you're going to need the team. He goes on to say, a potential safety car now would make this very awkward. Please do it now. And then, you don't need to do anything. Checkered flag. Piastri leads McLaren 1-2. 1-2 home for a maiden F1 win. Well done, Oscar. Well done. Checkered flag. Well done, buddy. Really good. No, not well done.
He lost.
You didn't earn that.
Yeah.
You didn't earn that. It's crock of shit.
So
shit.
Ford versus Ferrari, when they did that, that wasn't uncommon to do stuff like that.
Unfortunately, no.
That's wild. I think that hits so many people that watch that, so many Americans that watch Ford versus Ferrari that didn't get a chance to live through that and to see it and go, that's unbelievable. How would they? That's so ridiculous. But to hear this happened this weekend, that's ridiculous.
Yes,
but don't you think and we don't have to spend much more time on this if you don't want to, but don't you think I think at this point Max Verstappen is probably a household name, right? To anyone that puts on a ESPN or Fox Sports 1.
He's a pretty famous athlete worldwide.
Yes. Yeah. Max Verstappen is very well known and is probably a household name, but stuff like this makes me want to put an asterisk next to his name, even though he's obviously not he's not on their team, and like there's nothing implicating him. But like to be a part of that, I don't know, man. It's just dirty.
Well, here's an equivalent. Another example.
Let's see if it's
the Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin team, 2311 Racing, right? They got two drivers,
Okay.
Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. What you see in F1 would be the equivalent of Michael Jordan saying, hey, we're going to make sure Tyler Reddick is our number one driver. And Bubba, you're going to do everything you can. I don't care what it takes, but you're not going to win races. You're going to make it so Tyler can win races. We don't care what you finish or where you finish. You're just out there to be out there and have your name and collect a paycheck.
You're a goon.
Yes, you're our goon. You're going to take people out for him. If you're ahead in the lead, you're going to back up and take the lead away so Tyler can go past and win. Right? That's what you see in Formula 1.
Well done, buddy.
Yeah.
Ice cream cones on us, Oscar.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else before we get to our final segment?
No, I'm good to move on.
God, that turned into a whole thing.
Yep, that's why I wanted to wait. I didn't want to tell the boy anything before we got there, because I knew his mind would be blown. But that's going to take us to our favorites segment, our last segment of the night. Our final segment, our favorite segment, brought to you by One Legacy Title and Escrow in Jacksonville, Florida. Visit them at onelegacyflorida.com or follow them at One Legacy Florida on their Instagram to learn how they can help you with your next closing. One Legacy Title and Escrow, because your legacy matters. Our favorites category this week is favorite first baseman of all time. And we did this because the Baseball Hall of Fame had their induction ceremony on Sunday, and you had Jim Leland as a coach get in, Adrian Beltre, third baseman, Joe Mauer as a catcher, but Todd Helton as a first baseman. So we figured we would do our top favorite first baseman ever for this week. Does anyone want to start us off?
Can I go first just to get it out of the way?
Yep.
You guys can take your shots where you can, but I'm just gonna breeze through this, okay? Honorable mention, Chris Crush Davis, Baltimore Orioles. Say what you want about the later stages of his career. Chris Davis brought so much joy to that ballpark, especially when him and Nelson Cruz were backing each other up. Chris Davis, honorable mention. Number 5, you might know him from his Nugenics commercials, but you might know. Nick almost did a spit take. You might know him from his Nugenics commercials. You might know him as the big hunk, but to baseball fans, to baseball fans everywhere, he's Frank Thomas, aka the Big Hurt. Picked solely based on his name.
And chill like it too.
Yeah. I wish my husband would look like that. Number 4, Miguel Cabrera, guy that we've seen a couple of times play at Camden Yards. Guy that the big reason I picked him, A, I've seen him in person. B, our listener down there in Guatemala. I just remember watching him go crazy out on Utah Street anytime Miggy came up to bat. So this is kind of an honorary pick for our Guatemalan fan base. Love you, Mike. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Jim Thome. Jim Thome. Number 2, there's a couple different ways I could give you this pick. I could read it out and you could hear it, or I could send you a text message. Mark Teixeira. Number 2. Number 1. Any guesses for number 1? I'm going to save you the guesses. It's Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray, number 1. Big statue out there in Legends Park in Camden Yards. I do believe he had the most games played at first base, if I'm not mistaken. That might be embellished. I saw some stat where he was number 1. Eddie Murray, number 1.
You didn't put Boog Powell on your list? Excuse me.
Couldn't work any good beef jokes. I don't want to take away from his business. I don't want anyone to take his business lightly. He's in the business of beef. If you're ever at Camden Yards, walk on out to Utah Street. Check out Boog Powell's Beef and Barbecue. I'll hang up and listen.
Boy,
well done. Well,
thank you.
I'm gonna mention someone, but I don't have him on my list. But I can just hear our dad just going, "How do you not talk about Tom Hadley?" You don't have Don Mattingly? Donnie Baseball. Donnie Baseball, hell of a guy.
Baseball.
Hell of a guy. I just had to get that out there before we started.
So is that your honorable mention?
No, I don't want. No, he's not on my list. I just needed to get it out there.
I feel like we're gonna get even more shit from your dad. Now.
Absolutely. My honorable mention is Albert Pujols, who was the best player of our generation that was clean, allegedly clean. I think that's fair to say.
I think so.
Over 700 home runs, over 3,000 hits. I mean, just if you don't remember, look up his stats. They're unbelievable. Yes. Number 5, the Canadian, Joey Votto.
Okay.
I love Joey Votto. Interactions with the crowd. One of the more solid, consistent players. And he does what, Komlo?
He gets on base.
He gets on base. Always massive OPS numbers and on base. I think he has an on base 1 year of like 474. Number 4, another guy that is great Moneyball player, Kevin Youkilis.
Oh, the Greek god of walks.
Yeah.
Let me slide this glove on to get a better grip.
Because he waddles.
Absolute ridiculous stance.
I was going to lose it.
No shot. You shouted out an Onion article about Kevin Youkilis.
From 15 years ago. Yes, I did.
I was about to say, he's been out of the league for a while. Youkilis is great as someone that watched the Red Sox and rooted for them. I love Kevin Youkilis. Number 3, Prince Fielder. Monster for the Brewers and Rangers. First baseman / DH. I love Prince Fielder. When he gets a hold of one, gets all that weight into it, that ball goes. Number 2, Freddie Freeman. Another great, consistent, all-around player, future Hall of Famer. One of the nicer guys. I feel like he's like a Scotty Scheffler of baseball. Just nicest guy there is. Always up there, just doing his thing. He may be having like one of his worst years, and he's still right on his numbers. Of like, I think he's 292, like 1660 or something right now. But he's always there. He's got a World Series, got an MVP. I love Freddie Freeman. And then number 1, Miggy. I think he was the best right-handed hitter, or probably best overall hitter we've ever seen in person. He has the Triple Crown year. I think we saw him the year before the Triple Crown, something like that. Just toying with pitchers. He was incredible. So Miggy's my number 1. Shout out to Guatemala, Detroit Tigers. I'll hang up and listen.
I love it. So this list for me was the most difficult one I've had to put together. As Komlo got an insight into my
so long.
psychotic psychosis, if you will. And I still miss people that I should have had on that long, extremely long list. So I had to try to narrow it down, and I couldn't even narrow it down. So
are there
I did
one
the best
or two
I could.
Giambis?
Oh God, I had him on the bigger list. There was one there. He was on there, the Giambino, but I had to narrow it down somehow, and so I went with a few honorable mentions. So the first one I'm going to give you is John Kruk. I felt compelled. I had to put John Kruk on there from
West Virginia,
from West by God, Virginia. He didn't go to WVU,
no, he did not.
But he is from the great state of West Virginia. I had to give Krucky a mention. He finished 3 All-Star games, career 300 hitter on the dot, 100 career home runs on the dot, which I think is pretty amazing, and a fantastic commentator for the Fightin' Phils. Then I had Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly. He's a hell of a guy. Just don't let him talk to Costanza, because then he'll rip his pants.
Oh, and
during the game,
split
and
his
then
pants.
Said Donnie, just go with it till it stops working. Donnie Baseball, hell of a guy. But a fun fact with him, he threw lefty, right? He played an entire game at third base as a left-handed thrower one time for the Yankees because they needed someone to go out there. He said, I'll do it. Was that good of an athlete. He went out and played a whole game at third base, which is, again, mind-boggling. It puts your mind in a bottle. That is nuts that he was able to do that for one. And then my other honorable mention is Chris Pratt as Scott Hatterberg from Moneyball.
It's not that hard.
It's extremely
It's incredibly hard.
Yes. Number 5, Komlo, I hope you have the clip pulled up, but Keith Hernandez is number 5 for me.
Keith Hernandez. I think we know some people who would have something to say about Keith Hernandez.
Hello, Newman.
I hate Keith Hernandez. Hate him.
I despise him.
Thank you. Yes, Keith Hernandez, MVP in 79. But he also has the most Gold Gloves ever by a first baseman. I believe 11 Gold Gloves, which is kind of remarkable. Career, almost 300 career hitter. I bet he's planning on rounding second later tonight.
Who does this guy think he is?
I'm Keith Hernandez.
Yes, but yeah, World Series champion. He was in Game 6, right? So Keith Hernandez, I thought he deserved a mention there. Number 4 is Mark Teixeira. His swing, I cannot grasp and understand how he was able to be such a successful hitter in the major leagues. Because he is a switch hitter, first off. His swings on both sides of the plate were drastically different, and neither felt really fundamentally sound at all, but yet somehow he would go out there and on a bad year go like 260 with 35 homers. And it's like, what is happening here? Played fantastic defense at first base. He was a really good defender over there at first base, especially with picks, right?
You know how many career home runs he has?
409. I believe he is
Rain
third?
Man.
Yeah, thank you. I think he's like 4th all time for most home runs by a switch hitter. Something crazy like Chipper Jones. It's like Chipper Jones, Mickey Mantle, and Eddie Murray. Something crazy where and then Mark Teixeira, right? He's on that list in terms of like most home runs by a switch hitter. So yeah, Mark Teixeira is a great player. The only reason he doesn't have more All-Star games is because he was a notoriously horrendous starter to the year. He would bat like 160 through May and then just go on a tear for the rest of the year. So by the time the All-Star break came around, his stats weren't good enough to make the All-Star team. But when he finished the year, you'd look up and it was like 290 with 37 homers and 120 RBIs. And
yeah,
what happened?
It is weird. He has 3 All-Star appearances, but he's got 3 Silver Sluggers.
He's just so pissed off he missed the All-Star team that he just turned it on.
Nah, he was just someone he probably, I just took him a little more time to get into him. Once he did, he was unstoppable. He was phenomenal. So he was at number 4. Number 3 is Freddie Freeman. For me, one of, if not the most complete first baseman ever. When you factor in all the aspects of a ball player, right? His hits for average, hits for power, plays fantastic defense, is a really good base runner. He plays great movement defense, as in like tracking balls that are hit, and great on-base defense, meaning the picks and fielding or securing throws from fielders. He's fantastic in all those aspects. He's really the model to play first base would be Freddie Freeman. If you had to pick someone like how do you do this position, that's him. My top 2, just the caveat is they weren't first basemen their whole careers. That's part of the reason I struggle with this, because when I went through my list of guys when they first came to mind, I think of them as first basemen. But technically they have more games played at other positions, but they did play a substantial amount of their career at first base. So number 2 is the donkey, Adam Dunn, one of my favorite players of all time.
As a left fielder.
As an outfielder, but he did play a lot of his career as a first baseman. He played more as an outfielder, but a lot of it as a first baseman. So again, I struggle with this list because, like, do I put him? Where do I put him? Adam Dunn's number 2. I've said it before. He is one of the most underrated players I think ever. The numbers that you see don't tell the whole story because of the fact that when he was in the lineup, you had to circle him because he could beat you in a lot of different ways because he had such command of the strike zone. He made you come in the strike zone, but he also could easily hit the ball out if he missed it. And not a lot of guys, like almost every guy has to square it up. He didn't. So that put that extra fear in the pitcher's mind of, well, I don't want to walk him, but I got to come to him. What do I do? And yes, it translated to a lot of strikeouts on his part, partly because of his size, swing path, all those different things. But as we said before, for much of his career, he was a 260 hitter.
Yes.
And I think everyone now would take a 260 hitter with 30 home runs, but he was hitting 260 with 40 home runs on a consistent basis.
He has
So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 straight years of 40 home runs,
yes,
and then the next 2 are 38.
yes, and he played on some
Damn.
bad teams too. So it's not like he found himself with the luxury of having Aaron Judge and Ichiro and Freddie Freeman's in the lineup with him. He didn't. He had some good players, right? Your Vottos, your Jay Bruces, but he wasn't on that good at teams. So for him to put the numbers up that he did, I think is amazing. He gets a bad rap with the strikeouts.
Rain Man.
And when he's
you know how many career home runs he has?
it's like 460.
Very close. It's 462. I'll give you that.
That was yeah.
Damn.
But then my number one first baseman is Ryan Zimmerman. I have my Zimmerman jersey on for that. And again, he like I said,
third baseman.
Technically played more games at third base, but I think of him as a first baseman. He was great defensively at third, hurt his arm, went to first base, and turned himself into a very good defender over at first base. But Ryan Zimmerman, one of the big reasons he's one of my favorite is, boy, where is he from?
He is from the University of Virginia, Thomas Jefferson's university.
That is correct. He's from UVA, but he's Mr. Nat. Like his number got retired, I believe, last year or the year before. He is their franchise leader in basically every statistical category, right? Home runs, hits, RBIs. I think he's the franchise leader in those. So he was just if he didn't get hurt as much as he did, we're having a little different conversation about him in terms of how we think of him. He put up some great numbers, but he had some years that because of his injuries that didn't play up to what he should have. But, at the end of the day, such a great hitter, probably between 270 and 290 he hit for his career, something like that.
I would say more 280 to 300 is for the bulk of his career.
And you add in that he hit for power. You add in his clutchness, right? I think he had that one walk-off hit a walk-off homer and
opening night at
Nats Park.
The new Nats Park.
Yep, and I think he had a walk-off in the playoffs of one year. That's crazy. He took Garrett Cole deep. I don't know if you remember that against the Astros. Him and Juan Soto took Garrett Cole deep in that 2019 World Series. I just remember that. I remember knowing going into that series, like, God, he's gonna take someone deep.
Yep.
And he took their ace deep, and they snuck that game out in Houston. So yeah, Mr. Nat, Ryan Zimmerman, he's my number one.
Right on.
Again,
good list.
God, my list had so many people. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So we didn't even mention Todd Helton or Paul Konerko or Carlos Delgado or John Olerud.
I wanted Paul Konerko. I was thinking Paul Konerko.
Or Richie Sexton. Like,
you know what?
Or Sean Casey. God, the list is.
Oh, Sean Casey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right. There were so many. Tino Martinez, Giambi.
You know what we didn't talk about, Nick, in all of this baseball talk, and obviously, like we're getting up on our time here, but Stevie, Nick taught me something, and I think you said you learned this too this weekend. Nick was, did you know, Stevie, that when a player receives a Gold Glove, they receive a gold replica of their glove?
Oh, really?
That's what it looked like from the pictures I was looking at.
Do you have confirmation on that, or are you just saying that?
It looked like it.
It looks pretty
because Todd Helton's Gold Glove, when he was holding it, was a lefty first baseman's mitt that looked like it had been like broken, like they did a mold of it. Basically, is what it looked like.
What?
And if that's the case, that's so cool, right? That's the trophy you want to win.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's always been the trophy I've wanted.
I never gave a rat's behind about that. But
really, that's what we're gonna censor.
Ass. Thank you.
There it is. But no, yeah, we didn't do. I can't speak for Nick, but I didn't do any homework to verify this. But it's pretty cool, and even if it's not like an exact replica, the fact that like even if it's just like specified to like the handedness and the position, that's still
still cool.
That's still pretty badass.
Yeah. Badass. I will now light the pyrotechnics.
Thank you.
Yeah. But good favorites list, boys.
Yes. That's gonna do it for
when we get to our third baseman, you're not gonna slip Zimmerman in there, are you?
I probably will, yeah.
I just am thinking. I think of him as a third baseman now.
I slip in,
Yeah.
move in
Where's the
after
boy?
completion.
Where's the boy?
Yeah. So that's going to do it for our favorite segment this week, sponsored by One Legacy Title and Escrow in Jacksonville, Florida. Visit them at onelegacyflorida.com to see how they can help you with your next home purchase. One Legacy Title and Escrow, because your legacy matters. That's also going to do it for our show this week. Thank you to all of you out there listening. As always, if you reach out to us, we would love to hear from you. Maybe you have suggestions about what we should cover this week. We love that. Because, again, this whole show is about, bringing what caught our eye, but what caught our eye might not be what caught your eye. So we want to kind of hear about that. We love that always. Thanks to our sponsors, One Legacy Title and Escrow, Main & Co., and Bobo's Fine Chicken. As always, if you haven't already, follow us on our socials at WCME_sports on Instagram, on X, on Facebook. New episodes drop every Wednesday at noon on Spotify and YouTube. You can always go to our website, WCMEsports.com, for latest updates and news on all of those things. As always, for the boys, Stephen Vesci and the man, Stephen Komlo, I am the coach, Nick Vesci. Be decent to each other. Have a good one. We will see you next time. Take care, Guatemala.